Next item on the agenda is development of priorities to be included in Neighborhood Commission's 2015-2016 work plan. Is that our time already?
Well, kind of, sort of. And my apologies, in everything else that I've been doing, I've neglected to actually publish the old work plan. So what I'd like to do is send that to you and make a recommendation. I mean, you can start talking today, but there's only one thing on the work plan that you haven't done. You voted to have a presentation like you did last year on fireworks preparedness, which your opportunity would be in June to do that, like you did the previous year. And because of the drought, that really is one of the items on your work plan that you probably, I can schedule with fire and police. My suggestion also would be, let me email you the work plan so you can review it before the next session. And besides the fireworks presentation, that the bulk of your meeting be the work plan discussion. So that's only 2 items. You're done with the budget at this point. You're done with everything else. And then that way, I'll give you what you need to review it. My apologies, it's been kind of crazy lately. And then that way you can do it thoughtfully, and then really have a draft. I mean, you can finish up what you need to do, create your draft at the next meeting, and then if you need to, you can vote it in August, and then I can submit it to council. But that's my suggestion, because as you go forward on your work plan, most of the things are fairly basic. Create another work plan, I think there were 2 items you didn't do. One was the fireworks presentation, which fits into June. The next one was you wanted to follow from the trees policy you've been working on several years ago. And remarkably, a lot of what you've been doing wasn't in your work plan. And it fits in the categories of the work plan. But I'll be going to Neighborhood Services and Education Committee. Council member, liaison, Roach has asked that there be a Neighborhoods Commission update. And so I'll be doing that tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. And in reviewing what you've been doing, you actually have most of what you've been doing, not as part of what you originally talked about back in September.
We didn't know in September they were going to get a police drone.
The drone took up most of your meeting, plus you did 3 additional meetings. You talked about the air B&B, which wasn't on your work plan. You talked about homelessness, which wasn't on your work plan. You see where I'm going with this? It's because the requests, you talked about the draft fire department strategic plan, which wasn't on your work plan, but fits into public safety. The only thing you didn't touch upon the year, and you'll see it when I send you the work plan, was code enforcement. Code enforcement was the only one that you're charged with it, but you didn't actually do any particular piece of it that was an issue that you grappled with.
Marijuana is code enforcement.
Well, it is, and I think it's classically not code enforcement in terms of what you're thinking of, like we don't have enough code enforcement officers and other things. Yeah, you're right. That touches on.
We talked about the zoning and the setbacks and.
That was on the peddling, on the produce.
Yeah, on peddlers.
Is that code enforcement?
Yes and no. It is code enforcement, but it's also public safety, because there's discussion by council members asked at the peddlers discussion at council whether or not they asked the city attorney could they use the community service officers to actually do enforcement. So it's kind of crossing into different areas. So not specifically, yes, you've done with in the peddlers discussion, you touched on that. And who would have thought peddlers would have been on your work plan? Because it wasn't.
This is sort of why I'm wondering why we want to spend so much time working on work plan when everything kind of comes by that we have no idea.
Then you still have to have, the work plan, you still need to have
So Matt had the first comment, you'll be second to the third.
Well, the comment I wanted to bring up, and this is something where perhaps Joe can offer an informed opinion, is I think something that will be on the horizon for next year and that we should start to think about it will be route coverage. In particular, I know there are going to be proposals coming to council for expedited review for gray water systems, which it's a neighborhood issue. People who want to do things to reuse water for irrigation that normally would have gone down the pipes in their homes. And that's going to become something where, we may be gathering input and we may be making support recommendations on it, so.
So I may miss June, I may be on business travel. So going back to what you said, Ernest, so we're gonna get the last
Yeah.
one we had
Yeah, you'll
for the
have
June meeting,
that.
so we'll review that and kind of use that as a template for going over for
Well,
next year at the June meeting.
Yeah, you'll look at it, and what you'll see is this is your first try at a work plan,
Sure.
and it's fairly, very basic.
Right.
It doesn't take into account any of the substantive issues that you did.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry, but then going back to your comments of all the items that we did in addition to what was enumerated on the
Right.
work plan, do we come up with and I think you and I have discussed this, do we come up with, at some point in time, a report on the work plan? What was accomplished, what wasn't, and what was done in addition to the work plan?
Well, now that you're going to neighborhood services and education, and tomorrow will be the first time you've gone to that committee in about 2 years, because it wasn't mandated in the ordinance. Councilman Rocha just asked for that to happen. I think that's your place where you can put an annual work plan report. That would be the next report that I'd give to them.
When is that?
Tomorrow,
Yeah,
at 1:30.
When is that, tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow.
But I would seriously recommend that we do some kind of an accounting of what we accomplished during the year and make that, part of the record.
Yeah, and actually, pretty much what I'm writing for tomorrow, what I've written for tomorrow is pretty much your annual report, because it goes all the way back to September. But you will have new things. You'll also have you'll complete the piece having to do with the fire. You'll be developing your next, strategic plan, and you'll finally get some resolution on, because right now, the narrative I have on the drone only says it will be going eventually by June 30th. So after that, you can say exactly what happened.
Okay, let's see. David.
You, and I'm pretty sure I do, have what was submitted as a work plan last September. I don't know why you or Gary or I or whoever has it, or the best of it, could not give it to everybody, within a matter of a very few days, so that you have it in your hand. He said before the next meeting, and I don't mean sarcastically, that could be the night before. Sorry.
That's all right,
Pardon.
but
But he's loaded, he's got a full plate, and
So,
he wants out of here, he's busy. But
there's
the
a-
bottom line is, we take charge of that, we share it with ourselves, and then secondly,
So I cannot email it out to you by violating the Brown Act, but I can tell you that I have it posted on my personal website at.
wait a minute, if our work plan was submitted to the city,
It's public record.
it's public record. It's no Brown Act to not submit it or recycle it.
Was it
That's
submitted?
number one.
Was it submitted?
Was it submitted?
Yeah.
We can
Okay,
assume it
it
was.
does?
Public record. No
So
problem.
you can send it out. What I, and, the only thing you can't, we don't have an official webpage.
Right,
So
I wish we did.
there's nothing, what you post on your thing or what Pete posts as far as videos go, they're not official documents. But, yeah, that's the only caveat that you had, and, so, send it out.
It saves you work.
Yeah.
And the second comment I would have would be that each of us give thought to what we've talked about over the year, what we've heard tonight, what we know is going on in our neighborhoods and in the community, and is important next year. Come up with 2 or 3, what you think would be important to the commission and your neighborhood to put on the plate for consideration for our work plan, and give us all a chance to chew on it, think about it, and be ready to discuss it, rather than walk in here and say, where are we?
Yeah, good idea.
So I was just going to say, I was asked to ask about permanent parking. That's important. Suddenly they stopped doing permanent parkings. I was going to say also, we used to do annual reports. I mean,
Right, you used to.
I mean, in District 6, we have the District 6 Neighborhood
Right.
Leadership Group, and I guess it's been a few years since I've done a sit down, and here's my report, but I used to report out to them. I report quarterly, but you all are supposed to be working with your communities. We no longer have, we haven't had our communications subcommittee meeting quarterly to remind everybody that we need to do this, but please, this is part of all of our charter, is to communicate with, I'm not saying you're not doing it, I'm just encouraging you to do it. And
We're in the process of putting together a District 8 summit in
Okay.
2 weeks.
And this is kind of the structure by which we do the caucus things too, is the same get-together of all the neighborhoods in your district.
Yeah,
So
I
it is.
want to remind you also, for those of you that are even commissioners, part of your work plan next year is the elections process for you. I can tell you right now that in December, you're going to have to put together, November, you'll have to put together a plan that will go to council for approval January. And then in the spring is when the election will be for the even commissioners.
Which will be run by the
odd
commissioners, so we don't have a conflict.
Not any comment on personal.
My point in this thing is, at some point in time, it'd be good to measure what we accomplish, and a good possible point is when we start on the next plan, and you see what we've done, what we haven't done, and also, when people ask, what does the neighborhood commission do? You have that summary for that year. This is what we did during the year, and you have it, and it's captured.
Yeah, and
I would be willing to offer to make a draft. Just note myself.
yeah, just
I'd
to
like the chair's opinion of what we've done.
Just to let you know, previous Vice Chair Neetu Dhaliwal created a template that she actually did three work plans that were submitted to Neighborhood Services when we still reported Neighborhood Services. This is the first time that you actually haven't had a committee to report to, but they're starting again. So that's your opportunity to give the report. But it usually, she's volunteered to do the report. That was she was the chair of the work plan committee. But you don't have those committees any longer. That doesn't mean you can't establish an ad hoc committee.
I've really lost track of what we're going
Right.
to talk about.
Okay, so quick summary where we are. He is reporting tomorrow to
Neighborhood
city
Service and Education.
that what we've done for the
We
year.
haven't seen it, right?
No.
No.
Shouldn't we see it?
No.
Before you present it, it's
Is it
not really
usual?
time unless you have it
Good,
here.
you think, but, and you probably have that latitude anyway,
Well,
but
bring it
boy,
to
I'd
the
just like to
meeting.
know how me to talk about mine back. So, I'm sure it's polite.
Yes,
The report
during,
wasn't made for you guys, it was made for the committee.
I'm curious.
I mean, I like
I was gonna say what we've been
That's
doing,
good.
we haven't seen days
Huh?
because we
You
didn't
had
see
comments or questions?
what it was.
Okay,
Before
so
all
then, so that I think I get,
Yeah.
but the rest of it will really kind of concentrate
So-
themselves outward of. crazy
So we're
this
going to
year.
have we have to have a work plan for what we're going to do next year. The work plan does not want to be so precise, it's going to say on February, we're going to talk about the floods that happened. We don't know what's going to happen. We have some general things. We know we have to work on work plans. We have to work on the caucus process for electing the commissioners for the even number district. We know some things are going to happen. We're going to have a discussion of the budget next year. So some things we know will happen. We have some flexibility to things because things come up. Like we had no idea the drones were going to come up, so we have some flexibility to accommodate these things. Then the question was, well, what did we do this last year? Well, he's giving a report to the city, but we should have a report that we can give to our community.
That's right.
And D2 Dollywall made one a few years ago that then some of us modified and gave to our commission, our district. And I just volunteered that I would make a chart package for next month to show what I think we have done here.
That would be very
And I would
helpful.
like to have an
Good.
vote offer, take an ad hoc committee from a few other people to help join me and help scribble down on pieces of paper what we've done. And I'm asking for,
I have a
I
lot.
have a request for an ad hoc committee to help me write a
I have
summary.
a lot of stuff that I've done in the communities during this past year. Some of you know.
No, we want to know what we did as a
Oh,
commission.
okay.
As a commission.
Like
What
for
did we do
districts.
during the commission?
No, so the idea then would be that this general package, you would each take and add your own things for your own district things. That was where I was leading on to, where you should be communicating with your districts. So, yes, I took Dollywall's package, added a few extra pages for what was unique to my district, and then presented it at our quarterly meeting. And I was encouraging you all to outreach to your districts.
I would,
too.
I'd use it at the District 10 Coalition, which we meet every month. So I would absolutely communicate there and through the other vehicles of next door.
Okay, so.
It could be a valuable document.
So I'm asking right now, so sometime between now and the next monthly Neighborhoods Commission meeting, let us have an ad hoc committee that gets together and makes a summary of the year. Yeah,
Work plan.
a summary of what we've accomplished. So I'm willing to do it, but I'm looking for 3 volunteers, 2 or 3 volunteers to be.
Can I just email it, Mike?
You
Because
can
I got
email-
all my stuff right here.
Okay,
All the
so you can
last
email,
5 years.
okay, email me some thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, Linda? And, okay, Desiree?
This is what we've done the past year.
Okay,
Larry, I'll get together with you.
okay. Okay.
Those 3.
Terry.
Terry.
Okay. Yes,
Can I ask something?
sure.
Okay, last Saturday morning, I went to a peddlers meeting, and that same woman who was here, the lawyer
Yeah.
from the city manager's office, had the meeting, and,
Oh, Angelique Gaeta?
right,
Yes.
yeah. And so I told her afterwards that, well, never mind, I won't say what I told her. But in any case, were we all supposed to be at that peddlers meeting? I'm the only neighborhood
No.
commissioner. What happened that I went?
So-
There were like, 50 chairs set up in 120, and the only people that were there were, I was there, and Angelique, or whatever her name is, and then the people from Julio and Jamie. They were from, the organizations that, and the people who were trying to get the permit.
What happened was it last month?
Last month,
Last
we made a
month,
motion to go through and decline to be the lead for
That's
that
right.
because it was unclear of what was being asked for us to go do.
Exactly.
Oh, good. So I
Because-
just showed up as a
As an
neighbor.
interested party.
As an interested party.
I mean, if it had been that we are collecting information to give recommendations, great. If it was that we were going to facilitate a discussion between the community and some other agency, great. Now, if it was just that we're going to be there so people could have somebody to yell to, and then we just had to absorb it, not tell anybody about it, what was the point? So, since they did not have a,
They don't think
they did not have a outcome
Well, the
desired from us.
city's really helping out this group who are, who have the 20 hours of service, and are ready to go.
They had pulled back on what they were gonna do anyway.
Anyhow, so,
That should go in the manual.
so let me continue on with the agenda here, because we
So-
want to get close.
So on the work plan piece, it is one, I think this is a good roadmap to think about topical areas that, as you're trying to think about what are important issues that are going, because we've said from a policy standpoint, those are there. I will add 2 thoughts. One is that I think we are powerful in thinking about where the gaps are in services. So whether it's homelessness, illegal dumping, code enforcement, safe neighborhoods, kind of fill in the blank, and that's what we try to do with this. So that would be my pitch to you, is to think of that, because otherwise somebody else is probably already doing it. And then I do think that we should go through and be firm in our work plan, not book 100% of our time, but I think we do need to be in control of what we do, because otherwise, I characterize it as the book tour, is that authors show up, they talk about their book, and they leave. And then our accomplishment is we listen to books.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of things that we can do if we say there's 2, 3, 4 of those, we're going to do it this year. The drones was one of those that kind of came to us, and I think we should be flexible enough to do that. But there are important things that we really want to go work on, and we have the opportunity to do that. But that means being in the work plan and putting meetings time to that.
And the other thing that I would add to this is, to everybody, remember our 4 topic areas that we are always assigned: code enforcement, public safety, traffic, and budget. And if you see things that are coming up, especially that are coming up as topics from your neighborhoods in those areas, those are legitimate things to propose as a potential work plan item.
During the discussion of the budget letter, there was a moment or two about major projects, zoning changes, and their impact on the budget. Land use is not our bailiwick. Budget is. Question: if the commission were to take up on its work plan next year a discussion of economic impact of major land use changes, is that budget because of economic impact? Or is that land use and we can't touch it? Or is that impact on neighborhoods and it's open?
Yeah, it's somewhere, it depends upon how you.
And the question is, if we can answer that question, then we either leave it alone or it opens the door. But it is a major question that's going to impact all of us and our children and their children and their children if it isn't addressed. We don't understand.
I would say it's a gap, and I would say our charter is to fill the gaps.
I think so.
Going to his point on the book tour, we had a presentation, and they had, Ms. Cargill, the fire department came out, and they made a presentation.
I can't hear you.
The fire department came out and made a presentation to us. The fire department came out and made a presentation to us, and my recollection, I think they asked for comments or something on that, or
Well, I was quite vocal in that.
I don't know if we ever responded to that. Are we expecting to?
It was information only, and they listened to us talk. They heard us talk, but whether they got any input.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we have to remember that's always in our mission as the Neighborhood Commission is we are an outreach vehicle to the neighborhoods. So any city department can come to us and say, here's a message we would like you to spread the word.
I mean, we are kind of a focus group for those things. They come here and practice on us before they go out to the community. So we do serve some purpose in
No,
that.
but that answer mail.
So they asked for us to go out, help them with outreach. I declined vigorously because of the poor preparation and flash in the pan sort of high sex appeal, low value presentations they made. So I'm being very opinionated, and I was very opinionated then. So I think we did take action. I know that I think I might have influenced others, that we did not reach that. If others wish to, the commission would
Yeah.
do, certainly put up.
But I mean, we answered the mail essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I think with that's right, that there's a caution about the book tour is a good analogy. I don't think we've done that. I think we've done a really good job, at least the time that I've sat on this commission, not just being a receptacle or a catcher's mitt, and that we've pitched back actual work products in the forms of the letters that we've written, inclusive of the one that we're finishing the drafting and authorship of tonight, that are meaningful. The drone thing was a lot of everybody's time, and I think it mattered. I think it set up a standard and a policy for how this particular issue is going to be looked at nationwide and goes well beyond our charter and San Jose from the 4 areas, but it affected those public safety issues for San Jose. So I think we've done we've avoided the trap, and I think we have to continue to try to avoid that, but I'm confident that we've done a good job with this in the last year, and I think we'll do good work going forward.
Okay, Moses, and then I want to get to staff report too, so.
I think that the thing with the
I can
fire,
barely hear
Yeah, I
you.
hear you.
I think the thing with the fire department is they were taking a certain area and outlawing fireworks to be used in that area. But we also have an ongoing thing with the fireworks, because as you can see right in this area here, they're trying to outlaw fireworks for just recreational stuff. But it's an ongoing thing. We've had this going on for 5 or 6 years. But I think that was just the fireworks that they were dealing with.
I recall that meeting a little differently. Can I, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
And that was, they were showing their hand as to a report about how effective they are. And there was no measures of effectiveness at all. And listen, I'm talking about 2 different meetings. I think that was the same meeting. They were not showing any measure of effectiveness at all. It was just a high sex appeal video that they had done with actors and models. And so I think they got a message that was loud, clear, at least for me, that that was not what we're looking for, and nothing that I want to take to the rest of the community.
Let's move on. It's going to be 9.
Yes, I want to hear the staff report. Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
And you need to talk another minute? Let's make it quick because we have time.
Quick, Ed.
One of the things that other commissions do is they have joint meetings. In other words, you could actually, on your economic development one, you could have a joint meeting with planning. The other thing that you may want to do is when you're trying to come up with a work plan, is the city council basically changed the rules around, and they now appoint all, basically by all board and council members, all board and commission members by district, which means that each district neighborhood leader group can basically ask their representative from various groups to come down and talk to them when you start to come up and develop at the neighborhood leader groups the priorities you want to bring forward to the neighborhood commission. You've got to remember that when it was originally set up, the neighborhood commissions were overall, and then from there, the neighborhood leader groups underneath, and then the neighborhood associations. So take a look and do that sort of thing where you're doing cross meetings and asking the representatives to come up and show up at the various neighborhood leader groups. Okay, thanks.
That's true. Most commissions except the Historic Landmark Commission, I think, is all appointed by the liaison.